Not only are more people using food banks right now, the face of who is using them is changing. As well as nearly 2 million visits over the last 12 months, a new report has found people using food banks are younger and employed. Joining me with more is the Daily Bread Food Bank CEO, Neil Hetherington. Good morning. Nice to have you in studio. So let's talk about this report. This report has found that in 2022, this year, after rent, after utilities are paid, the average person using a food bank has just, look at that, $8.01 a day for food. I mean, what does it look like in the food banks across the country right now?
It's been horrific, quite frankly. We are in a crisis, and it's been a crisis on a crisis on a crisis. So
Right.
pre-pandemic, in Toronto, we were seeing about 60,000 client visits per month. During the pandemic, that doubled to 120,000. And between January and today, that number has risen, just in Toronto, to 190,000 every single month that we are assisting. So the number of individuals who are making use of food banks has increased dramatically, threefold in Toronto. Across the country, we have seen that rise by about 15%. And as you said, the depth of concern, the depth of poverty remains alarming and concerning. And the thing is, we know the answers to this. We know how we can work our way out of this.
What are the answers?
Well, they're simple. We need simple, decent, affordable housing across the country. We need to make sure that income supports are appropriate. You know, when CERB came out, we said across the country there should be about $2,000 for everybody to survive on. And yet in Ontario, we provide anybody on disability with $1,200 a month. And so we legislate people to be in poverty. We say you have to be in poverty for the rest of your life and be underwater dramatically. So income supports that are appropriate. And I'm glad that the federal government is having conversations right now about extending disability benefits. And there's legislation in front of them right now to be able to assist on that front. I was pleased that in Ontario, we're going to index it to inflation, but there's still a long way to go. And in the opening, you talked about the face of poverty changing.
Yeah.
People who are working are no longer immune from having to make use of a food bank. They're no longer immune from being food insecure. The number of people working coming to a food bank doubled over the past year. And so if you have a full-time employment, that does not mean that you have an income that will support you in this city.
I want to talk about income. The average client income was just over $12,500 of people who are visiting food banks. Talk to me. I mean, you're there. You're meeting with people. You're hearing the stories. What are you hearing from those that are coming in?
Well, I think there's a sense of desperation and concern. I think there's a sense of relief that for that 1 week, they will be able to get the food that they need by visiting a food bank. But at the same time, questioning why is it that there is a system where, you know, we all grew up thinking if you went to school, you played by the rules, you got a job, you'd be able to get by. And that's no longer the case. And so there's certainly a lot of questioning on that front.
And I think about the children too, Neil.
So in terms of children, this was, I don't know how to articulate it appropriately, but it cut to the core, Lindsey. The fact that a quarter of food bank clients are going hungry at least one day a week, and half of those are children. And so children are going hungry across the country. 5.8 million Canadians are food insecure. And so we cannot, simply rely on charity. We can't rely on food banks alone. We need to have honest conversations about this alarming report called Who's Hungry, and start to lobby our government and say today is the day to implement our poverty reduction strategy.
Well, Neil, we always appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in to highlight some of the key findings in this report. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.